I am Ivan Blumenthal, a retired pediatrician. Many a parent will know that when faced with a fretful, inconsolable, crying baby, there is a need for something. Gripe water fulfilled that need and still does today. What is gripe water? The active ingredients are bicarbonate of soda and dill oil, an antacid and an antiflatulent. Since the 1990s, gripe water has been both sugar and alcohol free. The manufacturer recommends its use in infant colic. Gripe water has no proven medical benefit. Infant colic is a poorly understood medical condition. Some pediatricians actually question whether there is such a condition. Mothers use gripe water when their babies cry incessantly and inconsolably. In this talk, I will focus on Woodwards gripe water, the market leader. Nowadays, there are other types of gripe water on the market. These differ in their ingredients. No gripe water has been shown to be better than another. This slide shows the newspaper headlines in 2012 when there was a problem with the medicines regulator and the manufacturer of Woodwards gripe water, Reckitt Benckiser, temporarily stopped the manufacture of gripe water. In portraying the history, I want to give you some background. The middle of the 19th century was a time of quackery and patent medicines. This picture was taken from Punch, an English satirical magazine. It shows a sleeping child with the opium bottle on the table. Many poor women worked long daytime shifts and needed their sleep at night. Some women, such as those in the lace industry, worked at home and also did not want to be disturbed by a crying baby. To these women, opium was a godsend. The most widely used opiate preparations were Godfrey's cordial and Dolby's carminative. A carminative is an antiflatulent. A common nickname for Godfrey's cordial was Mother's Friend. Dolby's, which is shown on the right, had a characteristically shaped bottle so that it stood out from other opiate preparations. This opiate preparation was manufactured by Atkinson and Barker's, a Manchester firm. It claimed to be the only infant's patent medicine with royal patronage. A picture of Queen Victoria can be seen on the label. By the turn of the century, opium use declined. Following the death of many babies, opium was regarded as a poison. Deaths arose not from overdose, but from malnutrition. The babies were too doped up to feed. This label is from about 1900. It should be noted that below the picture is written without laudanum. Laudanum is opium dissolved in alcohol. Also note the name of the preparation. There were gripe cordials and gripe mixtures, but the name gripe water belonged to Woodwards. The map on the left shows an area of eastern England known as the Fens. The Fens were roughly the area between Lincoln in the north and Cambridge in the south. On the right, the Fens are depicted by the green and yellow areas around the wash. The Fens were a geographical area of marshland. The stagnant water was a perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes. People living in the Fens developed fevers or agues. We now know that fen fever was malaria. This is an old Fenland house built on piles in the marshes. Much of the Fenland population treated themselves when they developed fen fever. The most widely used preparation was opium. Some people in the fens even took opium prophylactically to protect themselves against fen fever. After a 7-year apprenticeship, William Woodward qualified as a pharmacist. In 1851, he purchased a pharmacy in Marketplace, Nottingham. This pharmacy was both retail and wholesale. The wholesale division sold mostly chemicals needed for the lace trade around Nottingham. In 1877, when Woodward retired, he sold the pharmacy, but the sale of the Gripe water division was not included in the deal. That part of the business he sold to a friend. 5 years later, when Woodward was tired of doing nothing, he bought back the Gripe water business. He continued to run the business until his death in 1912. The business was then taken over by Woodward's son, William Harrison Woodward. William Harrison was a classical scholar and academic. In the early stages, he seemed to devote more time to his literary pursuits than the business. However, under his stewardship, sales of Gripe water went from strength to strength. In 1923, the business was sold when William Harrison retired and emigrated to Canada. Thomas Woodward purchased a marketplace pharmacy in Nottingham in 1851. Shortly after the pharmacy was purchased, he formulated a preparation for the treatment of fen fever. Woodward took his inspiration from the treatment used by a group of Nottingham doctors. The preparation contained dill oil, bicarbonate of soda, sugar, and 4.9% alcohol. Woodward made a point of not including any laudanum. It was reported to Woodward that the beneficial side effects were that the preparation soothed fretful babies and relieved infant gastrointestinal troubles. He named the preparation Gripe water after the watery gripes, an old-fashioned term for diarrhea. In 1876, trademarks were obtained for the name and the etching on the bottle label. This shows number 99 on the trademarked label. At the very bottom it states that the words Gripe water and the baby and serpent's device are the registered trademarks of the manufacturer, W. Woodward Limited. On the left of the slide is a picture of Sir Joshua Reynolds. In the center is his painting of the infant Hercules. An etching of the infant Hercules is shown on the right. This painting was commissioned by Catherine the Great. She asked Reynolds to paint something of historical interest. He chose the story of the infant Hercules from Greek mythology. The painting is currently housed in the Hermitage Gallery in St. Petersburg. You will see in the next slide that if chemists ordered more than a gross of Gripe water bottles, they would be given a free print of the painting. In 1915, there was a widely publicized court case after the Gripe water trademark number 100 had been infringed. Woodwards won the case. You will see at the bottom of this advertisement that it states, the words Gripe water have been pronounced by the High Court of Justice to be a valid trademark, the exclusive property of W. Woodward Limited, Nottingham. The wives of British servicemen and diplomats spread the virtues of Gripe water around the globe. This is a full-page advertisement in a coronation issue in August 1902. It lists Woodward suppliers in Southern Africa, Rhodesia, Canada, Australia, India, and the USA. The marketing of Woodward's Gripe water has been relentless. It started with testimonials in the 1800s and culminated in the 1960s with a campaign of full-page spreads in national newspapers and women's magazines. During the campaign, there were also 15-second television commercials. By the 1990s, millions of bottles of Woodwards gripe water were sold each year. I'm now going to show you some examples of Woodwards marketing. This advertisement from 1890 shows how Woodwards tried to influence mothers. It has comments of praise from the pillars of society at that time. These included doctors, a nurse, and ministers of religion. Woodwards gripe water was referred to as a high-class medicine used by medical men in their own families. Of note is the comment of a family doctor who wrote, "Woodwards gripe water is the only medicine of its kind I would feel justified in recommending, owing to its freedom from narcotics, which are almost constantly found in the soothing mixtures for children." Woodwards also received numerous testimonials from mothers, which they included in their advertising. The next slide shows one such testimonial. This is a 1914 letter from a mother, Mrs. Turner, in Cheetham Hill, Manchester. She wrote,
"I feel I must write and tell you what a lot of good Woodwards gripe water has done for my baby. I've given it to her since she was 3 weeks old, and I may say we've never lost a night's rest with her, up to 1 month ago when I stopped giving it to her. But I may tell you I very soon got it again for her, and she's as good as ever. Now that shows you the good gripe water does children. When she was 4 months old, she weighed 27.5 pounds. I herewith enclose her photo, which you may print with this letter if you wish. I cannot speak too highly of the value of gripe water, and I strongly recommend it to all who have children to bring up. The baby is now 18 months old, and she's a picture of health. I remain, yours truly, Mrs. Turner."
In the 1915 court case, Woodwards showed the judge their testimonials. They told the judge that these testimonials were unsolicited, to which the judge remarked, "There are a great many more grateful people in the world than I imagined." Some advertising was sensational and alarmist. This 1904 advertisement suggested that the high infant mortality was due to food not being properly absorbed in babies. That problem could be mitigated by giving Woodwards gripe water from the first hour of birth. The advertisement says that Woodwards gripe water has been used by 3 generations and should be in every nursery and in every mother's hand. Another method of advertising was the distribution of free booklets and other literature. This was a free booklet distributed in the 1950s with a full page devoted to gripe water. In the 1990s, Woodwards gripe water was included in the free neonatal bounty bags, together with a pamphlet and a discount voucher. These were some of the free gifts Woodwards distributed as a way of advertising. The Woodwards name was on each item. In 1914, with the onset of the First World War, advertising reflected the mood of the country. These are some of Woodwards' patriotic advertisements of that time. Some advertising was quite bizarre. On the left is a baby prize winner who was reared on Woodwards gripe water. On the right is an American advertisement from 1905. And finally, let me summarize. Woodwards gripe water was originally developed as a treatment for malaria. By a stroke of serendipity, it was revealed to have soothing effects on babies. We do not know whether these properties were attributable to its high alcohol and sugar content. The virtues of gripe water were spread around the world by the wives of British servicemen and diplomats. There has never been any scientific evidence that gripe water is of medical benefit. The alcohol and sugar have since been removed. Through highly skilled and effective marketing, gripe water today remains very popular with mothers as a baby soother. That was my last slide. I hope you've enjoyed this talk.